I'm going to be reading you some bedtime stories. I have the book here. I'll do a little bit of tracing here. Bed time favorites. We have our friend Winnie the Pooh up here. And then we have this snowman. I believe he's from the movie Frozen. His little carrot nose. And before I start reading the bedtime stories, I am going to get you ready for bed, or a bit ready. This is usually what I do. I have this vapor rub right here. My mom used to use this for everything. If I had a cough, vapor rub. If just really anything that was wrong with me, it was always vapor rub. If you know, you know. And I don't even know how to describe the scent. It's a eucalyptus or mint, I'm not really sure. Let's put a little bit on your nose, in your nostrils, and a little bit on your throat, and on your chest. Okay. Now I have this eye mask here. And I like to use this when I want deep sleep. I know a lot of people can't sleep with this. But this one has these nice pockets in the back, so that it doesn't press your eyes. Here, you can use it if you want to. If you don't want to use it, that's okay. That's okay. Okay. Now, let's get started with the bedtime stories. Let's see. So there's many stories in here. Which one should we start with first? I think what I'm gonna do is I'll read a story to you, and then I'll do some triggers, and then I'll continue another story. I think they are pretty short, so let's just start with the first one. Let's see. So the first one is Winnie the Pooh, and the title of the book or the story is called What Good Friends Do. friends do. Okay, let's see. I'll show you the image if you want to see it. One night in the 100-acre wood, a nervous piglet could not sleep. "Oh dear," Piglet said. "I better just stay here until morning, keeping watch for the heffalumps, woozles, and all the other creatures that come out at night." The next morning, Pooh knocked on Piglet's door, but there was no answer. Ever curious, Pooh opened the door and stepped inside. He found his friend shivering beneath the covers. "Oh, brother," said Pooh. "What's the matter, Piglet?" "Don't you hear it, Pooh?" asked Piglet. "I do hear it," said Pooh, "and it sounds lovely to me." All Pooh could hear was the birds. "Not the birds, Pooh," said Piglet. "It's the woozles and the heffalumps that set their traps inside my house." "I don't see anyone in here except you and me, Piglet," said Pooh. "How can that be?" asked Piglet. "I'm not sure they are here. Those creatures kept me up all night." "Perhaps you were dreaming," said Pooh. "Let's look around to make sure they are not here." "What's that whooshing and whistling?" cried Piglet. "It's the wind blowing through your curtains." Pooh said, "Are you here?" "Are you sure?" asked Piglet. "It sounds rather woozle-ish to me. If there was a woozle about, I think I would know it," Pooh said. Soon Rabbit stopped by with some freshly picked apples. Just then a horrible banging and clanging began, sending Piglet beneath a chair. "I believe your pipes need some tightening," said Rabbit. "My toolkit, I will be back in a jiffy." I love that word, jiffy. They heard a blip, blip, plop, blip, blip, plop throughout the kitchen. Pooh went over to Piglet's sink and turned the faucet left and right. "That should do the trick," he said. "I do hope Rabbit hurries," said Piglet. "All these noises are making me nervous." Pooh turned to his friend. "I think I know a way to help, Piglet. What if you pretend to be brave?" "Even if you're really not?" Piglet considered this. What good is pretending when there are heffalumps and woozles about? "Well," Pooh said, "perhaps you might get so busy being brave that you forget that you're pretending, and then you can go on being brave." Pooh spent the rest of the noisy day at Piglet's. "Oh dear, Pooh," said Piglet. "I'm not pretending to be brave very well, am I?" "I'll keep watching tonight," Piglet said. Pooh, tucking Piglet into bed. "Maybe we can try pretending in the morning." But soon Piglet heard a strange sight, followed by a long snore. Carefully on tippy toes, Piglet made his way over to Pooh's chair. Sure enough, the strange sounds were coming from Pooh. "That's funny," said Piglet. "Pooh sounds just like a woozle when he snores. But I better let him sleep. I'll keep watch myself." In the morning, Pooh awoke to find Piglet outside, waving a broom in the air. Look, Pooh, I'm shooing these blackbirds away. They've been cawing and screeching at me. Pooh looked at his friend. Let's take a walk. When you see there's nothing scary out there, it might help you feel brave. Piglet stopped to admire a butterfly and then noticed he was alone. Just then, Piglet heard a strange humming sound. Pooh, he whispered, is that you? When there was no answer, Piglet began to shake. He quickly hid behind a thick oak tree. Be brave, Piglet said to himself again and again. Piglet took 3 deep breaths, then he stepped out from behind the tree. Be brave, he whispered. Piglet walked on bravely, looking for Pooh. He listened closely when he heard a curious crunching and scrunching. I'm not afraid, Piglet told himself. It's just some birds or squirrels or mice or Pooh. Is that you? Yes, it's me, Piglet, said Pooh. Then the leaves are making quite a racket today. But you didn't hide. You didn't shout or cry. You were very brave. However, did you do it? I'm not sure, said Piglet. I wasn't even pretending. I just told myself that I wasn't afraid. Pooh hugged his friend. I couldn't have done it without you believing in me. Pooh, that helped me believe in myself, Piglet said. Well, Pooh, that's just what good friends do. The end. So that was a Winnie the Pooh story. Now let's do a little bit of trick. I have these fluffy pens here. And I thought it would be nice to to sleep, sleep, sleep. Go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep. Go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep. Let's go on to the next story. What story should we do next? Let's do Thumper's Nighttime Adventure. Okay, let's see. One beautiful day, Thumper was playing outside in the sunshine. As he was exploring the forest, he spotted his friend Dizzy the opossum. Hiya, Thumper said. Want to come play? Dizzy yawned. That sounds fun, he said sleepily, but I'm getting ready for a nap. Maybe next time, okay? Okay, Thumper said. He scampered away. Thumper and Dizzy had been friends for a while, so Thumper knew the opossum napped a lot during the day, but would Dizzy really rather sleep than play? Later, Thumper asked his papa, why is Dizzy always so sleepy? Sorry, I try not to be so animated, but said Papa. Well, he's not always sleepy. Opossums are nocturnal. That means they sleep a lot during the day. Then they are awake at night when we bunnies are sleeping. Papa led Thumper to a nearby cave. There, Thumper saw all the bats hanging from the ceiling of the cave. These bats are nocturnal. To Papa said, right now they are getting ready to rest, but they spend most of the night flying outside looking for food. Wow, Thumper, awake all night? No wonder Dizzy is so sleepy. Thumper wondered what other kinds of animals were nocturnal. Thumper and Papa hopped back home to Mama and the sisters. Thumper was excited to play with his sisters before bedtime. Maybe they could play tag or hide and seek. He always had so much fun with them. Thumper hoped Dizzy had fun with his own family after all the other animals went to sleep. That evening, as the bunnies chased fireflies, Thumper thought about what his papa had said. When Thumper and his sisters hopped home for bedtime, Thumper thought about the exciting things he might miss while he was asleep. Did the bats play tag under the stars? Did the opossum family have midnight picnics? Before long, Thumper's sisters were sound asleep. Soon after, his mama and papa started to snore. But Thumper was still wide awake. Slowly, silently, Thumper hopped to the burrow entrance and poked his head out in the cool night breeze. The moon was bright, the stars twinkled. Thumper went just outside the burrow and sniffed the air. He hopped a little farther and sniffed again. Thumper knew he shouldn't go out without his parents' permission, but he couldn't stop thinking about the nighttime fun he was missing. Thumper's curiosity soon got the best of him, and he bounded quickly down the path. Before Thumper knew it, he had hopped all the way to the opossum's favorite tree. Dizzy was very surprised to see Thumper. "Shouldn't you be at home sleeping?" he asked. Thumper giggled. "I came to see what other animals do at night," he said. "I've never been out this late before." "Well," Dizzy said, "my family is just about to eat breakfast. Do you want to join us?" So Thumper had a late night breakfast with the possum family. They had the same blackberries Thumper usually ate during the day. I guess nighttime breakfast isn't so different after all, Thumper thought. After thanking the opossums, Thumper hopped away to find more nocturnal friends. Oops. As Thumper walked through the darkness, he was startled by a voice. "Who's there?" Friend Owl asked from a nearby tree stump. "It's Thumper," the bunny replied. "Would you like to play?" "Can't play. Looking for grass to fix up my nest," the owl said. "Very busy night, you know." Next, Thumper hopped down to the pond where he saw some skunks. "What are you up to?" Thumper asked. "We're off to take a bath," said one skunk. "Some animals think that skunks stink," said a second skunk. "Not us," said a third. "We take baths every night." The skunks walked over to the shallow edge of the pond where Thumper and his sisters took their baths too. Thumper could take a bath anytime, so he waved to the skunks and kept on hopping. On the far side of the pond, Thumper saw a mama duck and her ducklings snuggling together. Thumper yawned. The ducks looked warm and comfy, and it was getting awfully late. Up in a tree, Thumper saw a squirrel and a chipmunk sound asleep. They seemed so peaceful and cozy. Thought the Thumper. They don't seem worried about missing nighttime fun. Thumper stood very still and listened to the sounds of the night. The crickets were chirping softly. Frogs were croaking down by the river. Now and then, wings fluttered through the darkness overhead. Thumper knew they were sounds of nighttime animals all around. But they were so sleepy. They were also sleepy sounds. At that moment, all Thumper wanted was to be in his burrow, snuggled up with his family. Thumper hurried home. He hopped silently inside, expecting to find his family sleeping, just as he had left them. Instead, his sisters rushed them to meet him, squeezing him from all sides. "Oh, Thumper," exclaimed Daisy, "we were starting to worry." "Thank goodness you're back," cried Tessie. "Daisy is right. You could have gotten hurt," Papa said. Papa was right. Papa was about to go out looking for you. Mama added, "I'm sorry." Thumper said he hadn't meant to worry them. "I just wondered what it's like to be nocturnal." Papa patted Thumper's head. "I understand that you were curious, but you must promise never to go out at night without permission again." "I promise," Thumper said. Thumper's parents gave him extra chores as punishment. As Thumper got ready for bed, he realized that doing chores was a little bit like his nocturnal adventure. He had eaten blackberries with the opossums, collected grass with Red Owl, and visited with very clean skunks. I guess I wasn't missing anything after all, he said to himself. Even though his nighttime adventure had been exciting, nothing was better than snuggling down in his warm, cozy burrow for a good night's sleep. Oh, very cute. Okay, now I'm going to be doing a little bit of mouth sounds. sun was setting over the beast castle. Outside, the world was snowy and cold, but inside, Belle felt quite cozy. She had spent the past few days outside, taking her horse Philip on strolls and even having snowball fights with the beast. Belle watched through her window as the beast walked Philip to the stables, pausing, gave the horse an awkward but kind pat with his large paw. Suddenly, Chip bounced in. "Belle, Belle," he called. "It's a story time." Now, Chip," Mrs. Potts said, coming in behind her son. "You must wait for Belle to offer to read you a story. Perhaps she is tired and wishes to go to bed." "I'm all right," Belle replied, smiling. She'd gotten into the habit of reading bedtime stories with her friends, and she'd been looking forward to it all day. "Let's go down to the library." "Yippee," Chip cried as he bounced out of the room. Lumiere and Cogsworth were already in the library when the trio arrived. The bear had pulled Belle's favorite chair close to the crackling fire. A warm blanket rested over the back, and thick boom with worn leather covers sat on the seat. "I thought perhaps we could read this one night," Cogsworth suggested, pointing at the book. Lumiere peered at the cover. "Helmets Through the Ages, A Detailed History of Head's Weather." He read aloud. "Ah, no. There must be some excitement, some drama, perhaps armor. Let's read an adventure story, one with big, scary monsters." Chip exclaimed. "Nothing too scary, love," Mrs. Potts said gently. "You don't want to have nightmares." Oops. Belle thought for a moment, her eyes skimming the colorful spines that lined the walls around them. Everyone wanted to read something so different. How could she find a story to make everyone happy? Then Belle had an idea. Why don't we make up our own bedtime story tonight?" she suggested. "Our own story?" Chip asked, excited. "Yes," Belle clapped her hands. "We'll go around in a circle and each add a line or two. It'll be fun." "A marvelous idea, dear," Mrs. Potts said. "Magnifique," Lumiere agreed. "Quite," Cogsworth added. So the friends gathered around the fire, eager to begin. Everyone insisted that Belle go first. "Okay," she agreed. She thought for a moment and then she began. "Once upon a time there was a knight named Sir Allard. Sir Allard was noble and brave. Wherever he went, he rode upon his trusty steed. He smiled, thinking of Philip. They did fight dragons," Chip shouted, bouncing eagerly. Belle laughed at the teacup. "Why don't you go next and tell us?" Sir Allard went on lots of adventures. He fought big, scary dragons and saved lots of princesses, Chip said. People came to his castle from all over to ask for his help. "Ooh, I believe I have something to add," Cogsworth said. "Wonderful," Bet said encouragingly. Sir Allard Castle was of the concentric variety, a vast improvement of the Mont and Bailey Castle. The concentric design was a combination of the shell keep and the rectangular keep. It had many lines of defense in form of the multiple stone walls. The stone that was used was particularly interesting. Cogsworth paused as he noticed Lumiere gesturing for for him to finish his part. Well, yes, I suppose that was a few lines. Cogsworth sputtered. You gave us great details about the setting. Bell kindly, Lemire, would you like to continue? Okay. But of course, the candle Brum said, one day our hero, Sir Allard, heard about a ferocious dragon. As all brave knights know, where there is a dragon, there is often a princess. And so, dreaming of rescuing the princess and finding true love, Sir Allard set off to find the dragon. He soon found himself in an enchanted forest, a forest that was so dreadfully dark that he could not see. "Ooh," Mrs. Potts exclaimed, "I know what happens next." As Sir Allard's eyes adjusted, he saw something large resting in the distance. Mrs. Potts said it appeared to be a dragon, but the creature didn't look like the knight thought it would. In fact, it looked a bit sad. "What did he do, Mama?" Chip asked. "Well, now I've had my turn, Chip," Mrs. Potts said. "We've all had our turns." Cogsworth exclaimed, "Who will finish the tale?" Suddenly, a cough came from his outside library door. The group turned to see the beast standing in the doorway. He had been listening to their story the whole time. "Hello, Belgeld. Would you care to come in and help us finish the story?" "No," the beast said gruffly. Turning to leave, "I wouldn't know what to say." "Ah, you can do it," Lemire said. "It's easy," Chip added. "Please," Belle said, motioning for him to pull up a chair. Alright, the beast strode over and sat next to Belle. "Well, I thought that maybe, I don't know. This is ridiculous," he said, fidgeting nervously. Belle put hands on his paw and smiled encouragingly. He looked at it and then he tried again. The knight saw that the dragon was upset and lonely, so Sir Allard talked to him and something very unlikely happened. The two of them became, well, friends. The end. Okay, guys, I hope that you enjoyed